Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. This is 8.6C, and this is on complex conjugates. We've heard that word before. We've had the word conjugates before. For us, with the complex numbers, there's our standard form for a complex number. Its conjugate is A minus BI. And you'll see when you multiply, so these are complex conjugates of each other. And you will see that when we multiply these, in fact, I'll work it out real quick. We have A times A is A squared. We've got A times negative BI, which is minus ABI. Then we do inside A times BI is plus ABI. And then we've got BI times negative BI. We've got negative BI squared. And these two cancel each other out. This turns into A squared minus BI squared. But this is A squared minus B squared I squared. And I squared is -1. So when we have A plus BI and A minus BI, we just end up with A squared plus B squared. And this is a real number. There's no imaginaries left. That's good stuff. This is similar when we did the radicals, and the radicals canceled each other out. We had conjugates with the radicals because I is a radical. So let's go about using this. Where does this come in handy? It's really useful when the bottom has a complex number. When a fraction has a complex number. Okay. So if I've got 8i over 2 plus 3i, I want to end up with no radicals on bottom. Remember, we wanted no radicals, and this is no radical. This is a radical on bottom. So we want no radicals on bottom. We multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate is 2 minus 3i, and so we're going to do that on top. And recall, this is like 2 plus 3 squared root of -1. That's why we're doing this conjugate thing. If we apply this here, I've got 8i times 2 minus 3i. And here I've got on the bottom 2 squared minus 3i squared. On top, I will have, this is 16i minus 24i squared. And that ends up giving me, I squared is -1. -1 times -24 makes the 24 positive. I got 24 plus 16i on top. Down here, I've got 4 minus 9i squared. And again, we've got a -1 situation. This is 4 plus 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. And this doesn't simplify, so that's our answer. All right, let's do another one. Let's do 3 minus 4i over 3 plus 4i. Why don't you pause the video and give this one a try? All right, I will assume you have. The conjugate of the bottom is 3 minus 4i. And so it might help to put these in parentheses. We need to distribute on the top. We've got 3 squared minus 3 times 4i is minus 12i. And then minus 4i times 3 is not minus another 12i. And then minus 4i times minus 4i is plus 16i squared. On the bottom, we have 3 squared minus 4i squared. This is 9 minus 24i. And then 16i squared turns into minus 16. On the bottom, I have 9 minus 16i squared, which turns into plus 16. So on top, 9 minus 16 is negative 7 minus 24i. All over 9 plus 16 is 25. That is a simplify. And that's the answer there. 2 more. Let's do 1 minus I over 2i. I'm off screen. This camera, I have it tipped up too much. I need to change that. Here if your indication is to multiply by negative 2i, you don't need to. Because this is like 0 plus 2i. So the conjugate would be 0 minus 2i. But we don't need to do, with no real component, all we need to do is get rid of the I, because this is like 2 square root of negative 1. All I got to do is multiply by the square root of negative 1. I just need to multiply by I. So if I do that here, on top I get I minus I squared, and on bottom I get 2i squared. This is I minus negative 1. And this is 2 times negative 1. I get I plus 1 or 1 plus I over negative 2. And if you were going to make it in standard form completely, you would split it up into negative 1/2 minus 1/2 I. I didn't do that on the previous ones. I'm going to pull the old ones back and do that here. This right here would be 24 over 13 plus 16 over 13i. The homework may want you to write it like this. And this one would be negative 7 over 25 minus 24 over 25i. So the homework may want you to write it like this. Last one. Give this a try. We've got square root of negative 3 all over square root of 8 minus square root of negative 12. All right, so pause it and work with it. I'll assume you did. This ends up being I root 3 on top. Square root of 8 is 4 times 2. So I've got 2 root 2 here. Minus 12 is negative 1 times 4 times 3. I've got minus 2i root 3 here. And you know what? I'm going to factor out the 2. Because if I don't, when I multiply it, if I multiply by this whole thing as the conjugate, I'm going to have some 2's to simplify, but I think maybe this way I won't. So the conjugate of this is square root of 2 plus I root 3. So I've got I root 3 times root 2 plus I root 3 all over. I've got 2 times square root of 2 squared minus I root 3 squared. Let's do some distributing. Square root of 3 times square root of 2 is square root of 6. And I root 3 times I root 3 is I squared times 3. On bottom, I have square root of 2 squared is 2. And then I root 3 squared is I squared times 3. I squared times 3, this is actually on top and bottom. This is -1 times 3, or -3. So I have I root 6 minus 3 on top. On bottom, I have 2 times 2 minus, that's this minus, and then I squared, this is minus 3. So I would have -3 plus I root 6 times 5 over 10. And separating it out, I have -3/10 minus or plus, they might do it like this. Another way of writing this is 1/10 I root 6. Some people like to have the radicals at the end. Not sure which form the homework wants. But any of these is actually the correct solution. All right, peace.